Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Designing Dreams in the Haus. I'm here with my guest today, Jenna from Resident Design. Hey Jenna.
Hi.
Welcome in. Thanks so much. So, thanks for coming on the podcast. I have known Jenna now for, probably 10 years.
A long time.
Okay, so do you want to tell the story how we met, or should I tell the story how we met?
You can.
Okay, so at the time I was working for a different company in Upper Arlington, and a builder I was working with reached out and said, hey, I have this girl who's going to school and she's looking for an internship. Would you want to reach out to her? And I think I was like 25, 26 at the time. So I was like, sure, I'll reach out to her. And it just happened to be Jenna. And I don't know, you followed me around for a few days, probably.
We did, a couple ride-alongs.
I had my little Mazda. We
visits.
just zipped around town, and I tried to give her life advice that I didn't know what I was doing with my life. So there was that. And then you graduated and didn't see you for probably 4 years or so. Yeah.
A good amount
And
of
then
time.
you just like popped out of nowhere working for one of my best friends.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just kind of a crazy, I think you guys could go show like how small this city
Seriously.
is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So what is your education? What's your background?
So like you said, I reached out to you when I was going to OSU.
Yeah.
I went in to OSU in engineering, but quickly didn't do well in like chem and calc and all like the
those crazy math classes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, do I really want to drill down on like math and stuff for the rest of my life? I'm more of a creative person. So I was like, I need to figure out what I want to do. So yeah, talked to you, talked to a couple different people, tried to get into architecture, but OSU's architecture school didn't accept me. So I got a minor in architecture and like a design minor. Initially, like got my degree in arts management.
Yep.
Which is really just nonprofit stuff. A lot of people do curation or work for stages and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I didn't want to do that. So I knew from talking to a lot of people that you get into the industry, especially architecture, by drafting.
Yeah.
So I just went to Columbus State and got 2 different drafting certifications.
Yep.
And started drafting for a glass company.
Oh, really?
True Light.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that one. Okay.
Hilliard.
Okay.
Right by Conkus. So,
okay.
Yeah. Worked for them for a while. It was really fun. But my boss there was like, you can do way more than this. You're like wasting your time here.
Yeah.
So then I applied for Shremshock. I worked for them in New Albany.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of CAD. I was just drafting for them.
Just CAD monkey.
Yeah. AutoCAD, making blocks, like super dynamic blocks. I would like throw a podcast on and get into it. You know what I mean?
So exciting.
Exciting
so
stuff. I was on their retail team. They do a lot of like drafting for L brands. So I was doing a lot of Victoria's Secrets and like all of their stuff, just like laying out
that's cool.
retail spaces.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But I knew I really wanted to get into the remodeling side. So that's when I applied to Dave Fox.
Yep.
Got into their drafting department and drafted for them for a while. But
so that's like when you really started seeing that you liked the kitchen bathroom industry.
Yeah. And that's when I like got my foot into remodeling and like got a feel for the industry and how it worked, really.
Yeah.
I wanted to figure out like where I would fit there.
What part?
Because I do enjoy drafting. I'm passionate about it, but I don't want it to be my 80% of my career.
Wow, you're passionate about it. I mean, for me, it was like a mindless kind of task. Like it was a means to having to get the design work done. Because in my head, I can see the whole thing. I don't need to draft for anybody besides, the clients and the people installing it. Like, it's already up here. The drafting was just like then getting it on paper so someone could say, yeah, I absolutely love it. But
no, I love
that you love it.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And I when I talk to like different companies or like who to work for and stuff, and people bring up different softwares that I don't know.
Yeah.
I get really excited about it because I get to learn. You know
excited.
What I mean?
Okay. So obviously you know CAD. I'm assuming you know SketchUp.
So I know AutoCAD. I got certified in AutoCAD and MicroStation, which nobody uses.
No one uses that. No one.
It was like for ODOT like a long time ago. Revit.
Revit.
SketchUp.
Okay.
Civil 3D, which is another Autodesk one. And then when I was working for Dave Fox, we used SoftPlan, which I really enjoyed. Yeah. That's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
It's like Reddit, but more just like residential.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And then, now I use 2020.
Okay.
So
we just switched from 2020 to chief architect.
Yeah.
Right about 2 months ago. And all my employees absolutely hate me. I've known 2020 for literally 20 years. Like I have basic where you couldn't add color to it. When we could get backsplashes in 2020, we got excited, which is so sad to say. But I can do it with my eyes close. Like I can run through an entire kitchen in 20 minutes, no problem. And we were doing a project and it was multiple levels, and we designed the whole first floor, which if you've ever used 2020, you know, like it doesn't like 2 rooms, let alone an entire house.
Yeah, right.
So we had
if you throw in stairs, it's like, girl, bye.
It's gonna crash. And then we kept going like more and more SketchUp into 2020, and it was like
takes 30 minutes to pull up the file.
And I think we literally Allison burned her computer up last year. Like it caught on fire. It was processing so much. So we were working on a project, and we had a first floor and a second floor. And we were reviewing the designs, and I was like, those stairs aren't in the same location because you can't do multiple layers in 2020. So I was like, okay, guys, we have to switch to chief architect. And everybody wanted to murder me. They still do some days, but the renderings that are coming out of there are so insane. They're so good. Do I still wish we did 2020? I do, because people are like, how do you do this? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Honestly.
Luckily, now that I have designers that do this for me, I don't do very much CAD work. So I'm just like, move that, do this, do that. And they just look at me like, fuck off. Like, I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
That's kind of what it is, though, when it gets to that point. Like I was saying in the beginning, like in the architecture industry, the architect doesn't really draft.
No.
It's all the people under them that just draft and redline and like go through it all.
Well, that's part of the reason I didn't want to, because I was going to go to architecture school as well. And it's like, okay, great. You go to school, you get a degree, and then you have to study under somebody for 6 years.
Very long time.
To ever get certified. So it's like, okay, so I'm going to do someone else's work for the next however long until I finally have enough hours and time that I can actually be a real architect. Because if not, you can't do anything. You can't stand plans.
No.
You're kind of useless for that first 6 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's great education, but like, you can't do anything.
No.
You got to be under somebody.
You're going to be doing the same stuff.
You're going to be doing the same. Yes, just CAD marking stuff.
Drafting. Yeah.
So I was going to ask you what your favorite part about this industry is, but it's drafting.
I do like drafting, but I really like the people of it all.
Yeah.
Like I do.
You have to, because we deal with a lot of people.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really like figuring out designs with clients.
Yeah.
I like doing stuff they like to do, and like sometimes you're like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And then you like rethink about it. You're like, actually, I think we can fit that in. Like, that's fun.
Yeah. It's always fun to like take their ideas and like turn it just a little bit where you didn't think they'd go for it, but like it makes it better.
Yeah.
My favorite part is like kind of similar to the people, but then like a way that changes their life. Like people don't always think like, hey, I did a kitchen, like no big deal. Like, no, it can change how you interact with your family and your friends and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
How you cook. Like so many people I think are really getting into cooking right now. And you know, having a space where they can enjoy to cook and actually like to cook is always fun as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's important.
So what would be some advice you would give to somebody who wanted to get into this industry?
So I guess my main takeaway from how I got here is that if it feels like the normal way to get here doesn't make sense, there's always another way to get there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So when I didn't get into architecture school twice, I was like, well,
twice.
Thanks.
It happens.
I'm like, well, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just going to draft, and who's going to say no to somebody that knows AutoCAD?
Right.
Doesn't matter if I have an architecture degree or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to get into this industry. You know?
Yeah.
I went to college, went to furniture, and then honestly lied on my resume that I knew 2020. Hey, yeah, I'm here now. I've told a story before where I lied on my resume saying that I knew 2020. And I went on YouTube and like figured it out. Luckily, the person interviewing me didn't actually know 2020. So they're like, here, draw this kitchen. I'm like, click, click, click. They're like, wow, you're good at this. I was not good at this. I had literally no idea what I was doing, but I was like, I knew AutoCAD, I knew SketchUp. I was like, if I know those, I can figure this 100%. Out. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I kind of just fell into the industry. You know, Amy, our office, stayed at home when she had kids for almost 13 years. And then went back to school and got a degree.
Yeah.
You know, we have a girl who went to marketing, like, and just was passionate about it. And there's no right or wrong answer. I just think it's a passion for this industry and being able to envision things. I think that's the hardest thing. And I think that's a hard part about, or the scary thing about now is like, I have young nieces and nephews. And like, I remember when I was young, I would daydream a lot and think a lot and just like, and now like they're on their phones all the time. And I'm worried like that creativity level is just not there with kids anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I worry that a little bit sometimes. It's hard with phones and like social media now because so much of our career is on there.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a lot of the stuff that I see that I want to use with clients or different inspiration and stuff like that is on social media.
Yeah.
So.
And it's great to have those, examples of things, but I always like to take it, and I don't obviously want to ever just copy it verbatim, but it's like you're looking at it, you're like, okay, how can I make this my own? Or, do I even want to make it my own? Or is like an idea already done and I should try to come up with something else? But it's like, I always say there's no more original ideas. Those are gone. Every original idea out there is absolutely gone.
Of course.
It's how you interpret that idea. I think it's similar to how like Ed Sheeran was sued this past year for playing a certain amount of chords in a thing of chords in a song, saying it was copyrighted. Well, there's only so many chords you can play and only so many orders you can put them in.
Right.
It's how you interpret it and how you do it your own way.
Exactly.
I think design's a similar way. It's like, it's not like, oh, we're going to put a sofa on the ceiling. Like, okay, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Like, you can, the work triangle, you can't just fuck it up too much or it's just not going to make any sense.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot about design, especially in remodeling, is more about the cohesion of the space.
For sure.
Like, there's a lot of things I can see in a lot of different places, but if it doesn't make sense in my client's house, then it's not something I want to do in there.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them that. So
I will say,
hey, that doesn't really look like your style.
I love you found your voice already. For being such a young designer, someone who's able to just kind of say how it is amazing. It took me a long time to find my voice, and I knew obviously you work for other places, but I do feel like since you've been working with Keith, like you've really found your voice, and that is a tribute to someone who wants young designers to grow and
100%.
learn. I work
100%.
for companies that just beat the shit out of me for years, and I was making good money, and in general, I had a good life, but it wasn't putting me on a pedestal. It wasn't like, hey, this is how you do this. Because sadly, like every job I work for, like within a few months to a year, I was the person in charge. Who's going to put me on a pedestal when I'm the person at the top? Like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you're expecting me to do all this when I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, and I think that's interesting about this industry as well. There's not a lot of like help to make you go to the next. How do you get, okay, you're here. Right. How do you become a better designer? And that's something we really try to do is like, we have junior designers, we have designers, and we have senior designers. Like, I'm gonna give you the tools that if you want to get to that next level, you can get there.
Yeah. And that's one thing I've really enjoyed about working with Keith. Every other company I've worked for, it's kind of felt like a cog,
Yes,
like, just get in and do your work, like head out, don't really say anything.
Yeah.
And that's not who I am as a person at all. So I don't want to be that in my industry.
Yeah.
So working with Keith, has made it a lot easier for me to be like, okay, that's awful. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
But I love doing that though so much.
Well, and because he approaches things that way, and it's a lot easier to see how it works for him, and just, especially in this industry, you have to be really honest with people because the last thing I want is your house to look like something you don't want it to look like.
It's ugly. I think it's so funny. It's like someone's like, do you think this goes well together? I was like, of course it does, because I don't want your friends coming over and be like, oh my God, who did this kitchen? Like, we're not calling them.
Yeah.
I'm never going to give you a bad option. Right. I may give you one or two, and I'm going to tell you I like this one the best and why, and here are your three.
Yeah.
My favorite's like, what's the other layout? I'm like, there is no layout. This is the layout.
Right.
This is the right layout. So here you go.
Well, and I've also found, especially when you get close to clients, when you're down making those decisions and when they get indecisive and things like that. Sorry, I literally just forgot what it was. Oh my God. Oh, it's just easier to be like a lot more blunt with them because then they trust you a lot more.
They do.
I'm not going to lie to my clients. No. And when they recognize that about me, it's like, okay, we're going to get through this. And I'm going to be super honest about everything that's going on because.
And maybe even your outfit. Like, I don't like your outfit.
Or like, I just had it with the client, you always do a kitchen and they've got a powder room next to it and they just want to replace the top or something. And then it becomes the whole project.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. Yeah.
So she was discussing with me about doing it. And I'm like, going into it, like, yeah, obviously we're going to do this.
Yeah.
I walk in and like, look at her mirror and I'm like, that mirror's got to go. Like, I'm sorry. I said, we can do the countertop. I'd love to do it, but the mirror's got to go. It's not helping you.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just replace the mirror.
I know.
And you could do that.
Until you find out like it's a family heirloom that their grandmother brought over from Germany.
Yeah, this mirror actually means a lot.
You're like, oh my God, I did that one time.
And then you're like, well, maybe we can find somewhere else in the house.
Maybe it just doesn't fit here. Maybe there's a better place for it. Because maybe
we can find somewhere else.
I have put my foot in my mouth sometimes. We had one recently and she's like, isn't that a pretty fireplace? And I thought she was like joking. I was like, oh my God, that is one of the ugliest fireplaces I've ever seen. She's like, oh, you're serious? She's like, I thought we liked it. I was like, we don't like it, honey.
You go down what about this do you really like?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is it the color?
Yeah,
Like
I just
the
don't
material?
care. I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care anymore. If it's ugly, it's ugly. And I'm just going to be completely blunt with you at this point. I'm out of fucks to give anymore about if I like something or if you like something. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Because they're coming to us for advice. You know, I always say, like, if they could do this themselves, they wouldn't need to hire design and build. They would hire a contractor.
We say this all the time.
And this is why they're coming to us. They want our opinion.
For a reason.
You're paying for my opinion. You're paying for my brain. You're paying for all these things.
Right.
If you can do it yourself, go do it. And that's great that you have that vision. Most people don't. I go to the doctor because I would get on my MD and I would look up and I would have cancer every day.
No, seriously.
So I can't do that because
Yeah.
I would have every type of cancer there is.
Yeah.
So instead, I go to the doctor.
Exactly.
And that's why we hire design builds.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I really do think it's great, like how you found your voice and you found your space in this industry.
Yeah. And it's been really helpful, like networking too, you know, getting close with you.
Yeah.
And even I told Tia last night, I met when we were doing the ride along, you took me to Worley and I sat down with Tia.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and I
crazy.
remember that like that long ago. And it's just cool how close you get with the people. I call them my coworkers. They don't even work with me, but it's like my suppliers that I regularly work with or designers that I'm constantly beside and just like discussing things with. And it's just the networking is really cool.
It starts with, you know, obviously a partnership with the companies and it does turn into this friendship. I mean, me, Tina, and Amy are like the best of friends and go on vacation and stuff together.
Yeah.
Like we enjoy each other. And I was saying this morning to one of the employees in the office. I was like, isn't it crazy how like we spend all day together and they're like, do you want to go to this event together? And we go to the event and then we go to a bar afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, I literally see these people more than my own husband at this point.
Seriously.
And I still enjoy being with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a sign of a not only good culture in a company, but people you want to be around because we have the same energy and the same like uplifting kind of spirit. Like, you know, there are days that just suck. We all understand. Like, construction sucks.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I get into some of my days, I could just start crying of all the stuff. Like, oh no, another permit didn't go through. Oh, the plumber didn't do this. I mean, it is literally every day of my life. Like, if I actually had to look at all the negatives, I would start crying. But luckily, I'm around people that still make me want to do this job. Mm-hmm. Somehow.
It's worked out.
It's worked out. So how has it been being a woman in this industry? I mean, in design, obviously, it's obviously more women, but obviously we deal with a lot of contractors and things of that nature. Have you had any experiences there?
It really depends. Mm-hmm. It's really hard. This industry is very male driven. Even though there are a lot of women designers, a lot of women suppliers, there's a lot of women in the industry. If you look at who's running it, it's still all men.
It is.
Which is cool.
Yep.
It works sometimes.
Sometimes they're gay men though, and they're way more fun.
Exactly. Like currently, like I'm at a place where I don't deal with that. Like Keith is not somebody that's like, you're a girl, you don't know. Right. If he does say that, it's a joke.
It's a complete joke. Yeah. You say it back to him. Just say, "Hey, you're a girl. You don't know.
Girl. Yeah. You don't get it because you're not a girl.
You don't get it.
Yeah. So, but any other place I've been, has been very male driven. Very like, you know, be quiet.
Yeah.
Do your
quiet.
thing.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So yeah, as a woman, it's just I don't know. It's kind of weird. There are shifts happening. You know, obviously.
For sure.
And there's a lot of people investing more in women that are working for the industry. I mean, if you think about Monica, she just became president.
I know.
That's like incredible. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like things are moving forward. And even if NARI, they have a woman in remodeling committee, it's like their biggest one. Like
it really is. Yeah. Yeah. Michael from
No
Drip has taken that over. She's going to run with it.
That's awesome. I would love to be a part of that.
I'm finishing my session on the board. December will be my last month that I'm on the board, but she's going to continue to run with that. And I think it's cool because like I told her, I was like, hey, if you need someone to be on your committee, I said, I know I'm not a woman, but I also think it's great to just have people of every gender on this. And it's women remodeling, but like how can I as a male in this industry support women in remodeling?
Yeah.
Because we need that. We have one electric company that has one woman electrician. And I'm like, I want 5 women electricians.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like I would love more women in the actual industry, like doing the labor and everything.
I agree.
We put out there like we'd love some women installers. It's just the sad part is because we haven't put it out there in the schools. It's not happening now. I think now maybe the shift is happening, but like, 15 years ago, you were not seeing any schools and be like, hey, girls, you should go to trade school and you can learn how to pick up a hand. Be an electrician. But like my electrician makes well more than $100,000 a year. Be an electrician.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like, it's like.
The trades, yeah.
It's not like it's, I mean, it is hard work, but it's not like back
But
breaking.
a girl could do it.
A girl could do it, but it's not back breaking. You know, I'm not saying it's like, you know, hey, you're going to carry 100-pound 2x4. It's like, got my wire.
Yeah.
Got my wire snips.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
So I hope, Nary did a Build My Future a few weeks ago, and it went to high schools, and it was trying to show trades and things like that. And I'm hoping that drive women into those spaces.
I
It
agree.
needs to happen.
Yeah, we need them in all the spaces.
We need them in all the spaces.
So, yeah.
My porta johns would be a lot cleaner, probably.
Honestly, yeah.
I had more women on my job site.
Although I will say the current production managers that we have are really incredible with me.
Good.
They never make me feel like they don't like mansplain to me
Yeah.
or any of that.
Yeah.
So a lot of them like jokingly refer to me as the boss a lot. And I'll just
Well,
be like,
I mean,
no,
how often do you tell Keith what to do?
fairly often.
Fairly often. So
It's a balance.
Yeah.
We always joke about it. Like I'll go out to clients, they'll be like, "Where's Keith?" I'm like, I left him in the office. He's not allowed to leave today. Like,
so maybe your new title's like vice president or something, or co-president or something.
we talk about it. I want no part in that. I'm like, we can just work together.
It's
like
fine.
we don't need titles. I'm just here.
Yeah.
You know. So.
But I think it's cool because I know Trish comes to the office a few times a week,
Yeah.
and like, you know, seeing obviously this woman who has so much experience in the industry that like she's been doing this for literally decades.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
And it's another woman that has her voice and is not afraid to use it.
100%.
Yeah.
I love Trish.
I do too. When we all three worked together, it was some of the funnest times. It was a very different company that obviously we worked for, but it was so fun. The creativity we had between each other. So that was always really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my favorite questions I always ask is, what is the most funny or awkward moment that's happened to you during your career so far?
I've been trying to think about it, honestly,
Okay.
Tyler. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think everything's funny and awkward. Like, honestly, I'm
'cause
just
you're
one of
funny and
those
awkward,
people.
yeah.
I'm just one of those people that's like, everything's funny and awkward and everything's not. So, like,
Yeah.
I just take things as they come and
Yeah.
they are what they are.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess the only things are like, I've got confused with Laura a couple times. Like,
I know.
when I
don't
first
understand
started
that, 'cause,
at
like,
Nary.
I don't think you guys look anything alike.
And that was always funny because I started saying that I'm going to start telling people I hate my job. Be like, I am Laura. I hate my job. I hate Tyler. Like, I hate
my
Haus
God.
Studios.
Please do that.
I told her one time, I'm like, I hate baking cakes. Like,
I think you should do that. That would be hysterical.
it doesn't happen much anymore now that I've like been really involved.
Yeah.
But at first, people would be like, oh, how's baking? You know, and I'd be like, what
Baked.
are you talking about?
I may be baked, but
Yeah,
I'm not
literally.
baked.
I'm like, I don't know how you know about that.
Yeah, I told the sex toy story last time.
Yeah.
Dishwasher filled with sex toys.
Right.
But another one, I have so many. I have been in this industry a long time. This elderly guy, and this kind of goes to women in the industry. I had an assistant who was a woman, and he was talking to her, blah, 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 whatever. And then I jumped in, hey, you need some help? And he was like, yeah, I'm looking to do the bathroom. I was like, great, let's talk how we do the process, whatever. I said, all right, go home, take some photos of your space. Here's my assistant's card, email it to her, whatever. She got the photos. She's like, Tyler, get over here. So I ran over there, and it was him getting out of the shower, taking the photos, completely naked. Yep. So like,
That's not okay.
not okay. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I will deal with this.
We can't work with you.
Oh no.
sir.
So, and I worked for a company at the time in Cincinnati where like they tracked every lead, and you had to report like why you lost a lead,
Yeah.
where they went, all this kind of stuff, as you should.
Yeah.
But like they were really diligent about it. And I remember like emailing her and say, hey, this is not a good project for us.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Like trying to be really nice about it. And like the owner called me and she's like, what happened to this lead? I was like, well, he sent naked photos into my assistant. She's like, what? I was like, here, I'll forward them to you.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, like this is, and she's like, so we're not, I was like, no, we're not doing the job. Absolutely.
Yeah,
we're not
no,
doing the
we're
job.
not
Like this is
comfortable
not
doing that job.
right. I've seen his penis. That's not okay. Like,
Yeah.
this
is remodeling.
This is
I don't
remodeling.
need
This is not what I need.
Like,
this
we'll
is
get
not
in your shower. That's fine.
Right, yeah,
But like
but-
clothed.
Yeah, clothes.
You know,
yeah, some clothes
please.
on, maybe. I know. So and that just honestly the stuff that yeah. How do you find your style, and what is your style? If you could actually explain.
So, Keith and I joke about this a lot because my style is like so maximalism and like
Oh,
color.
really? Okay.
Yes, but nobody does that ever.
No, not really.
I don't even do it in my own house.
Do you follow Christopher Peacock at all?
No.
So that'd be good, especially if you're maximalism in kitchens. Like it's color on color on color.
We just finished a tiny home that we've been working on.
I saw that. That was really cool.
As long as I've been working with Keith, we've been working on that tiny home because it takes a long time.
Yeah.
It is, that style is 100% me.
Yeah, like, that was a lot.
It's a lot.
That was a lot.
People see that and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I love that so much. And we always talk about how it's a phase too. He talks about all the time. Yeah. He's like, you'll get over that. Like, I promise you'll get over that.
Your style evolves. And so I used to be, I won't say maximalist, but I wanted more. And the older I get, the less and less and less I want. Not only like in my house, but in life. Like I just minimalist just because it's so loud on the outside that when I come home, I want quiet and simple and calm and relaxing. And not that that can't be really high-end design, but like if I could have white plaster everything right now, because I'm really into white plaster right now, everything would just be white plaster.
See, I think I'd be miserable. Like
I would. I think I would thrive in that environment too, because I don't have all that outside noise. I'd probably be a better designer. I don't know. I'm saying that.
It'd be like a padded room for me.
Well, there are some days I belong in a padded room.
Some days I need it.
Don't you worry. All of these designers are going to put me in a padded room. Where do you see yourself in like 5 years from now?
That's a really good question.
Yeah. That's why I asked it.
So we've talked already about Chicago.
Yeah.
My brother's there, and I'm just ready for a change.
Yeah.
And just bigger and more. I kind of want to grow.
Yeah. I mean, I was about your age when I was living in Cincinnati with me and my husband. I had a good job. We had a house. We had we had friends, and it just felt like I couldn't go anymore. Like I just needed a change. And then we didn't move far. Cincinnati to Columbus wasn't a huge jump. And my brother was in Columbus. My husband's brother was in Columbus. And I just let's just do it. So I did reach out to some of my vendors, which maybe could be a great way for you to get your foot in the door, is I reached out to all my vendors, said, hey, I'm looking to make a change. Do you know somebody who could be hiring? And at the time I sold a company called Starmark, Cabinetry, which is what J Company sold. Okay. So they made that connection really easily. Yeah. Because I already kind of knew that cabinet line. It was really easy to go to them and say, hey, I can come in and help you guys. And I was hired pretty fast. And that move changed my entire life. Yeah. I would not be here today if I didn't just do it. Yeah. So obviously we'd be so sad to see you leave. But we can come visit in Chicago. Chi-Town's super close.
It's not that far.
It's not that far. Southwest has 2 direct flights every single day, and it's $99.
Shout out Southwest.
Shout out Southwest. I'll take a discount code too. Thank you.
Yes, please.
So it's always scary, but that first jump may always be the scariest, but could be one of the best jumps. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, you can always come back.
Yeah.
And it's. People are always like, well, then I failed. No, you didn't fail. You learned. Right. And I think that's the hardest thing about jumps like that is it's not failing. Yeah. So do you think, obviously, you want to stay in this remodeling industry when you go to Chicago?
I would love to just be a kitchen and bath designer. Yeah. Yeah. That would be awesome.
I'm sure I have some connections from my 30 under 30.
That would be great.
I'm sure we can get talking to somebody.
That would be awesome. Yeah. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. So you're looking at apartment. Like, where are you at?
I've looked at apartments. Yeah. Yeah, I went last week to look at apartments. I need to narrow down like a job.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
If I need my car, where I'm going to be at, things like that before I figure out
before you just move there. Yeah. So you're not just like homeless and
stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it. I hope it all works out. So
Chicago's such an interesting town because it's like you get New York, but then you also get the beach, you get the water, and then you get like still the Midwestern niceness. Every time I go, like I end up getting lost. And I'll be like, hey, and I have my phone and be like, hey, how do you get here? And someone's like, oh, just go down 2 blocks, take a left. And you're like, they're so nice. In New York, they would literally tell you to fuck off or wouldn't even acknowledge you're a person. So I love Chicago.
Oh, my favorite thing to do. I don't know if you've done it. The architecture boat tour.
Oh, love it.
You have to make sure it's the first lady one because that's like the one through the architecture department.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've done it twice, but I'm not sure.
I love it. I try to do it every time I go because I love it so much. Yeah. And so I might try to like volunteer to be the person that like runs the little things.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the merchandise mart there. I mean, it is so amazing.
Fun.
It's really inspiring too, because like you get there and you get so much inspiration and stuff like that. So love the merchandise mart. We went during COVID, so a lot of stuff was shut down sadly. But I think we're gonna take the whole crew is gonna go next spring. So we're gonna get like a little bus, you know.
That'll be a trip.
It'll be fun. It'll be really fun. So the way I like to end these is I have asked ChatGPT some questions, and now we're going to ask you and see if you have the same answers and what's correct.
Okay.
Okay. So, what distance off the floor should a toilet paper holder be?
Oh gosh, like 42, maybe 40.
Toilet paper? 42?
Oh no, you're right. Sorry. Like. No, like 24, 30?
Yeah, the industry standard is 26 to 30 inches. 26
toilet paper.
Toilet paper.
Okay.
Toilet paper holder.
I don't know. My project manager just puts it up there.
Puts it up there. What is the standard, or what are the sizes of the work triangle? Should never be bigger than
3 feet. I don't know.
Work triangle, so your sink, your range, your
I know what the work triangle
Okay, all right. Just making sure.
I know what the work triangle is. Is there there's like set distances? What if your kitchen's
There's requirements that fall in NKBA standards.
And
these are more like NKBA standards and procedure questions.
Right.
So maybe I should have led in with that. So 13 to 26 feet is what they're saying between the triangle, with no leg being smaller than 3 feet.
Okay. I'm like, what about my galley kitchen? What are you talking about? 13 feet.
It becomes like, 13 feet.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we're doing really well here.
The math.
Okay. We'll have an easy one. What is the standard height of a wall cabinet from the floor?
Like 34 and a half.
From the bottom to wall cabinet. Bottom of the floor.
Oh, to the wall cabinet?
Wall cabinet.
I thought you were talking about a base.
No.
So it's 36 and then an 18-inch gap. So what is that? 52?
54.
54. Babe, usually I have a calculator. Like, he's so real.
This is so good.
Thanks, ChatGPT.
Well, I knew all these answers too. Well, we're going to go with it. Which one is more durable, quartzite or dolomite? Think about the hardness scale, the Mott's hardness scale.
What are we in chemistry class?
No, it's density and hardness.
I'm going to say dolomite because I've never heard of it. I know quartzite is like a natural material.
It's quartzite.
Yeah.
Yeah, quartzite's more durable. It's a 7.
What is the other one?
Dolomite, it's between a marble and a quartzite in terms of the hardness scale. So dolomite's like a 4, where quartzite's like a 7. It's one of the hardest natural stones on the earth.
Quartzite?
Quartzite.
Cool.
There we go.
You learn a lot. You know,
no, this is an education one. We'll just slide that one down.
Yeah, we'll just cut that whole.
We'll just cut that whole section out. We don't even have to talk about that.
ChatGPT.
I use it so much anymore. It's actually a little scary.
We use it all the time.
I'm now challenging it to like kind of do some layout stuff just to kind of see what it comes up with. It's actually really interesting what it's doing. And then like say I render something and I don't like the way it looks, I'll throw it in there and ask it to like re-render something. And it's pretty decent. Like
that is so interesting.
Yeah. So
I've never tried it like that. I've only tried it for like social media posts.
Yeah. My
resume.
I used it to, so when we were looking to find a new furniture brand for Haus and Home, I had gone to a few different ones, and I was in the furniture industry a long time ago. And I was like, find me, and I linked 4 different brands that we currently sell. And I said, find me a brand of furniture that can do custom furniture that's private label to designers, that's not available on retail, like all these things.
Yeah.
And it put like 4 different ones out there that I had literally never heard of.
That's awesome.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like deep dive. Like
It's hard to find that stuff.
it's hard to find this stuff, but we found an amazing brand. And our soap actually comes tomorrow. So I'm super excited for that to come.
That's
So
exciting.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on here.
Of course.
Do you want to give your deets and what you do and where you work and everything?
I work for Residence Design Build Remodel with Keith Roop.
How do they contact you?
You can call us. I don't have our phone number. You can look us up on Google at Residence Design Build, and all that information should be accurate. We're pretty good.
Just don't call before 10 o'clock because
Listen.
they will not be there.
Might be there before 10, but we're a very small company, so we'll really be attentive to you, but you got to get in there, so.
No, I mean it is cool being kind of a smaller company.
Yeah.
Obviously when I started, it was just me and Amy for a very long time, and it was really cool. Now we had a part where I decided to blow this company up and make it really big, and it is fun. But I do remember the days when it was just me and Amy, and we had so much fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Just driving around from job site to job site. Where it finally got me is like, I was also the delivery person. I was the janitor. I was IT.
Yep.
And then we started making up names for these people. So
Yeah, we'll refer to like the bookkeeper and
no.
the janitor. Yeah, and the cleaners.
The cleaners.
We do that a lot.
Yeah, my favorite one
Yeah.
was Karen in order and processing. So like, I remember one time somebody called like, my hardware's wrong. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Well, let me reach out to Karen in ordering and processing and see what they did wrong. I was like, we'll give you a call back, and I hang up, and I'm like, God dang it, I ordered that hardware wrong. There's no Karen.
Yeah.
Karen was me. I was
Seriously.
Karen.
Yeah.
Before Karen was Karen.
Right.
It's before COVID and crazy Karens. But anyhow, thanks so much for being on.
Of course.
this
Thanks for
episode.
having me.
Well, thanks, guys. This has been another episode of Designing Dreams in the Haus.
Boxland Media. Think big.